Well, one of the things you said, we have 65 people in New York. Half of those people actually are remote.
65 people are remote.
No, 30.
Oh, half of them are remote.
Yeah, like half of our employees are actually working remotely. And when you think about Trello and you think about, the idea that this is a way for people to collaborate and get on the same page, which is super important when people are all over the country. There's so many different ways that you can use this document type, Trello boards. There's, ways to use it in your business where you're using it for, which is a very common use case in software development. We have people using it in marketing for editorial calendars. People planning their weddings with Trello.
Sure. This is anything that's got a lot of details that are going to slip through the cracks, and that anything slipping through the cracks would be potentially disastrous.
I mentioned before that my wife and I were using it for our house, so I'll show you the board there. There's some things I noticed in the house, that I want to check before we close.
Yep.
Do we have the key for the generator? Does the humidifier work? And then my wife started putting pictures of things, like she wants to get a stuffed peacock for the house. Of course, you have to have that.
If you're in Westchester, it's classic. Classic Westchester design. This is your life now, Michael.
So she and I are the
No more Odeon at 2 a.m. for you.
No.
Sorry.
So we're the only two people on this board, but it's a nice way for her to sort of figure out what we're going to buy. Well, maybe not all this stuff, but this is the wish list. Here's a really interesting use case. So Slack, a couple weeks ago, they took their roadmap for their platform that they're building out, and they created a public Trello board. So everyone can see this.
Including their competitors.
That's right.
But Slack has such a commanding lead that why not put it out there and get feedback from everybody?
Sure. Yeah, they're using Trello across the whole company. They've got, this is a good way to publish to people, like, this is what we're working. Now, I don't think this is the one that they're using also internally.
Yeah, they probably got something internally.
Right, right, with more detail.
This is more of like a PR campaign. Like, hey, it's PR customer feedback, customer service kind of way of using Trello.
That's right.
Because people are going to be like, hey, when is this coming? And you say, hey, look, it's here. And it's going to be number 3 on the list. But now, one of the interesting things about this method of putting a bunch of to-dos, if I'm correct, is that in an organization, anybody can go and grab something off the to-do board and take credit for it and then move it over to the done. It creates a little bit of either competitive or it's really good for the smart kids who are driven in the class when you have this kind of a structure, because whoever's providing value, it becomes transparent. There's no way to fake it. You either moved the Post-its along the Trello board or you didn't. Is that part of why people love this kind of stuff, and it's particularly embraced by startups?
Well, I don't think that we knew that this would happen, but very early on, we thought there's a way to archive cards when you're done with them.
Yep.
Right? You close them, they disappear. What we saw was people were starting to create a column that was like their done column, and they would move cards over there.
Yeah, it was nice.
We're like, why? But why? Like, if you think of other task solutions, like you close a case, it disappears, right? But they were doing it because it was a trophy wall. It showed momentum and velocity within the company. It was like, look at all this stuff that we've been doing, right? We have an internal board ourselves for the company called Company Report that gets updated once a week. And it's a very high-level board to sort of, everyone in the company can update the cards and the projects that they're working on, so we can sort of see it in an overall view that we're making progress, right? Because all day long you're doing small things, right? But how is this bubbling up to get our bigger goals? So there's like 4 different columns that represent our different goals that we're trying to track and the projects within them, and then everyone updates the card, and you see when it gets done. There's sort of a ceremony around moving it to the ship column. It's a celebration, essentially.
Hey, everybody, we have a great new partner here at This Week in Startups, and it's adroll.com, adroll.com. And what they do is retargeting. What is retargeting? That's when you visit one website, and then if you're the website owner, you can retarget ads to that individual when they're on other websites. We've all seen this. You search for something on a website, and then when you're on Facebook or on Google or some other site, you see an ad that's not generic and boring and has nothing to do with what you're interested in or ugly. You see things that you're interested in. This is great for the consumer because they get ads that they would be interested in, and it's great for the publishers because the publishers get to make money from ads that are targeted And of course, it's great for the sites and the startups. One of our startups, as you know, I'm an investor in Rapify. James Heller, who is the founder of Rapify, says AdRoll is an integral part of his customer acquisition strategy. It allows us to continue to garner impressions long after the initial customer interaction. For example, somebody comes to the Rapify website. You can now then keep retargeting them and sending them different creative ways to engage with, say, their product, Rapify. It's also one of the most cost-effective tools to bolster any integrated marketing strategy. What he means there, James from Rapify, is, hey, it's super effective. If somebody comes to your website, you know there's someone interested. It's like they walked into your store, but they left. They weren't ready to buy, but they wanted to check out your store. Well, you know what? The second, third, fourth time, fifth time, that could be the charm. And this is why those ads are much more targeted and better for the person who's running the ads. It's basically more efficient for the entire ecosystem when it comes to it. And AdRoll is the most widely used retargeting platform. If you haven't heard of retargeting, look it up. They have over 25,000 advertisers using AdRoll.com, and they convert window shoppers into buyers. As I'm saying, it's super efficient for everybody involved in the ecosystem. And you'll get access to 500 plus ad exchanges, including the Facebook and the Google, as we call them. And you're going to reach potential customers across all devices, browsers, and apps. This balances usability with powerful performance. Machine learning and data science is used to bid on ads quickly and effectively. And so your budget's going to go further if you're a startup company or a marketer. And that eliminates all that wasted ad spend. You don't want to spend money on people who are not interested in your product. If they would never come into your store, why would you spend money on people who are not interested? I mean, think about it. Retargeting is just so brilliant. And it's a really new scientific way to do marketing, and people love it. People on all sides of the transaction love it. Established people like Pantheon and Doc Martens and thousands of emerging businesses are using AdRoll, and you can get $100 credit. That's right. You'll get $100 credit to get started as a new customer at adroll.com/twist. I know a lot of you are using it already. If you're already using it, you don't get that $100 ad credit. But if you're new customers, you're going to get $100 credit just for trying it by going to adroll.com/twist. Adroll.com/twist. This really works. Retargeting is one of the great, amazing innovations of the last 10 years, and AdRoll does it really well. Go ahead and check them out, adroll.com/twist, and welcome to the This Week in Startups family.